Cabinet Secretary, Internal Security, who sits in the National Security Council. The President himself does it. Sits there. The Inspector General of Police sits in that National Security Council. This should be the apex of control when it comes to security.
Yes.
Isn't that where we should be directing the blame and saying you have lost control as a National Security Council because all those people sit there and we are saying this, now we want to blame the governor? It's not his function.
I don't even think there's any dispute about who is to be blamed for the lack of control of security. I mean, that, first and foremost, we have to start from the president. We have to come to the security system around the country. Because a demo going into, collapsing into anarchy in Nairobi or in Nyeri or in Nakuru or in Mombasa is insecurity in our country.
And it's not up to the governor.
Yes. And then, and Fred, when I was in Parliament, I tried to introduce a bill on how to manage demos, and it made me a lot of enemies, especially within the civil society. And why was I doing this? As I said, I've had a history of being involved in demos a lot. In fact, if you remember, there was a very famous Limuru 2 and then Limuru 2B, where we were stopped by policemen from going to have a meeting in Limuru. I went to court, and I got an order allowed me to actually do a demo. And the provincial, whoever was in charge of the province at that time was actually instructed by court to make sure I had security, right? When I got into Parliament and we had these demos happening, especially after election, in 2017, in 2022, my question was, now that we have made demonstrations part and parcel of our political engagement, right? Because unlike Sosion, when Nat or NASIs or what go for demos, then they go for demos on a purely work-related issue. Now, the demos we are seeing are political demos.
Political.
They are demos to cause political change. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if this is what is happening, then as a country, we need to create a structure of how those political demos are supposed to be done. And this is what I mean. When I tried to introduce that bill, I wanted to ask, can we have a structure that says, you know, those five W's and H? Mm-hmm. So who is calling for this demo? Where is it going to be? When is it going to be? What is it about? Why is it being called? And how will you be able to tell who the demonstrators are and who are not? Because remember, demonstrations are held in the middle of life. Today, if you call a demonstration in Nairobi at Commercial or outside Kencom, for example, you will come to demonstrate, but you're not the only people on that street. There are people who are going about their business. There are people who own shops. There are matatu drivers, there are matatu owners who are conducting the business. As you're doing your demo, what are these other guys supposed to be doing? Are they supposed to pause live so that you can do your demo, finish, then they continue? Or is there an interface of how you're going to do your demo and allow me to continue doing my business? And I remember asking that question when I was trying to prosecute this issue. You have the right to demonstrate, but you're coming to demonstrate outside my shop. What is my right? What am I supposed to do as you demonstrate outside my shop? I am not part of the government. You're agitating against the government because they did something to someone. I am not part of that government. Me, I'm just running my small kiosk. You're outside my kiosk with placards. My clients can't come to my kiosk. What is supposed to happen? You know? And this is a conversation we're supposed to have, because why are you seeing goons being mobilized? I talked about how in 2017 and 2018, 2019, we had a structured organization of goons, for lack of a better word, called Nairobi Business Community. It was structured by the Business Committee of Nairobi, and they said, no, you guys can't be coming to do demos and destroying our business. And the police are not doing anything about it. They used to even wear uniform. I think they had the American camo uniform. Mm-hmm. And they would do press conferences. And you'd say, we are going to do demos, and they would do a press conference and say, when you're doing the demos, we are going to be on the street. The other day, now, it's gotten to the point where we are, and that's what I talked about, socializing. We are getting normalized to this issue. We must have a conversation about how we are going to do demonstrations. This is why, as I finish, these young people, and as I said right from the beginning, I completely admire their capacity to mobilize and get on the streets and agitate for an issue. I had Nairobi Regional Commander said that committing that he's going to give them security on 25th. Is it 25th or 24th? He's going to ensure they have security. Now, if we don't have an arrangement of where are these young people going to be doing this demonstration in Nairobi, for example, are they going to do it on Uhuru Highway? Are they going to do it on Kenyatta Avenue? Are they going to do it? Because as they do it here, Sosion talked about structures. Every street, every country, every city has a bunch of criminals, individuals and gangs. And they're always waiting for an opportunity to get involved in doing their business. As you're doing demos here, and criminals come and start pretending they're demonstrators on this street and robbing people, how do we separate? How do we separate that these are legit demonstrators who are celebrating the anniversary of June 24th, and these are thugs?
Now, this is something we expect that it will happen next week, but this conversation and the level at which we're having this conversation is the reason I'm concerned. I've come across a clip of the president's personal assistant in anticipation of what will happen next week, telling the governor, or seeming to direct the governor of Nairobi, to take charge of Nairobi and ensure that Nairobi is peaceful.